Hello Year 5, another day, another chapter of Floodland by Marcus Sedgwick. We are on chapter 11 if you're following along in the book. That's on page 83, but because we've been reading it slightly differently, it is part 13. In the last chapter, William was chatting his stories and the alarm went off and the cats are now invading earlier than they thought. So let's find out what happens. The mad clanging of bells was coming from way up in the tower and rose from the middle of the cathedral. Shouts and the sounds of people running reached them. "Attack! We're under attack! Come on! Hand out the weapons! Cats, Dooby! It's the cats!" Zoe ran into the cathedral. She was amazed. The same people that had seemed such a mess to her before were now quickly and efficiently organised into an army. Weapons were being passed out. As Spat and Munchkin shouted instructions, groups of 10 or so were running off to guard various doors and passages. Dooby stood in the middle of it all, satisfied that they were working as he taught them to. He spotted Zoe. She tried to turn, but he grabbed her arm. "Come with me, Zoe. It'll be all right." Zoe felt comforted by his calm voice and hated herself for it. She was even comforted by the painful grip on her arm. It stopped her having to think about what to do. But when she thought of what he'd done to the poor cat, she felt sick. Suddenly, William stood ranting at the top of the choir stalls. "Ely is almost swallowed up," he yelled, his eyes wild. "Lincoln and Norwich stand trembling on the brink of Udan Udan." His shouts of nonsense added to the urgency. "The wheels of Albion are turning, vast and invisible." Then he saw Zoe. "Zoe! I've remembered. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester. Dr. Foster, go west, Zoe, west." Zoe stared at William, but then Dooby rushed up to her. "Take this," he said, and thrust an awful-looking pike staff into Zoe's hands. It was literally a museum piece. "Just shove it at anyone who gets too close, right?" "No, I don't want it," she protested. "If you want to live, you better. Come with me." And with that, Dooby grabbed an ancient-looking sword with a huge curving blade and ran for the stairs to the tower. He pulled Zoe after him. Zoe had no choice but to follow, gripping the pike grimly. "Udan Udan is a lake not of waters but of spaces," William went on with his mad shouting, though no one was listening. "On its islands are the mills of Satan, but to the west lies Gulganuza, the city of salvation." "There they are," Dooby shouted. They stood at the window about halfway up the tower of the cathedral. From there they had a clear view of a mob, carrying similarly brutal weapons, heading fast towards them. "What are you going to do?" asked Zoe, her heart thumping. She'd never been in anything like this in Norwich. "Just watch. This should be simple enough." Dooby was incredibly calm. Once again, Zoe wondered who he was and where he was from. He was only a little older than she was. The cats are desperate. They've only got a little zit of an island left now. It's higher than here, but there's barely enough room to turn around. One big wave this winter and they're dead. They've tried this many times, but they're weak now. "Why don't you let them stay here?" asked Zoe. "Not enough room." "Tough, but that's how it is. We've got a few too many here ourselves. Still, this fight should help our numbers drop a little bit." Zoe was horrified at the bluntness of what he'd said. Below them, the army of cats and eels on the green in front of the cathedral. "Aren't we going to help?" asked Zoe. "No," said Dooby. "We've got this under control." It didn't look like it to Zoe, but Dooby turned to her. "Just watch this," he said. From behind the cats, from the same direction in which they'd come, another force of eels spilled onto the green. Then from inside moulder and buildings on either side came 2 more bunches of eels. The cats were caught on 4 sides. There was no hope for them. Guiltily, Zoe was relieved. She didn't know what she'd do if she was forced to use the terrible weapon in her hands. They watched the fight take shape. Zoe backed away from Dooby, wondering if she could escape. "All be over in 5 minutes," said Dooby, laughing. "Look, there's William." Zoe had about been hurled down the tower, but came back to the parapet. She saw William run out to start yelling more nonsense at the people fighting. "William," yelled Zoe from the tower, "be careful." There was no way he could hear her above the noise of the fight. He continued to pour out a stream of nonsense. Zoe hated him for his stupidity, and she hated herself for not making him see the truth. "William," Zoe screamed again, but the noise was too great. He walked right into the heat of the battle. "William, no!" She lost sight of him for a moment. Then she saw him, lying on the grass. She went cold. Suddenly the bells in the tower started to ring again fiercely. Shouts rose from the nave of the cathedral. "Dooby, where's Dooby?" Someone was calling for him from below. Dooby ran back down the stairs. He pushed Zoe in front of him. Dumbly, she put up no resistance. She could only think of William, not herself. She didn't want to believe what she'd seen. Then they were at the bottom. Dooby dragged Zoe out into the nave. Molly ran towards them, yelling, "Horses! There's horses coming! Horses from Gomagog! We're done for." Oh, so it's not going what they thought. Poor William. He's dead. What do we think's going to happen then? So they're not ready for this battle. Dooby's using Zoe as a shield by the looks of things. They haven't got enough weapons. The horses seem powerful because of how scared they seem when they shouted horses. I wonder what's going to happen next. Ooh.